I am a baseball fan, and if you've managed to wander your way to my channel, you probably are too. However, I'm also a passive football fan and noticed something I think would be interesting both to fans of football and baseball. So without further ado, let's talk about field goals. Fundamentally, the routine is pretty straightforward. The long snapper snaps the ball to the holder puts the ball in a good position to be kicked, and the kicker boots the ball between the uprights. Success! The ball usually just needs to be kicked on a decent initial trajectory with enough power to make it there. But that doesn't always cut it. Let's look at Justin Tucker's first career missed extra point. With less than 30 seconds to go, Joe Flacco connects with John Brown, making it a 1-point game. A routine extra point could effectively send this game to overtime. Justin Tucker, Baltimore's kicker, was 222 for 222 on his career. One of the best to ever do it. Then this happened.
Justin Tucker. Are you kidding me? The first miss in his career.
Well, he's been flirting with the uprights during the course of the game today.
Snap in the hole.
Look at
looks
that.
good.
That thing just, that was like my golf swing right there. That thing just sliced to the right.
So what just happened? It is hard to get somebody of Justin Tucker's skill level to miss from that distance. Based off his face after the kick, some anomaly took place. We just have to find it. Even as a football novice, I know an important part of the holder's job is to have the laces of the football facing the uprights. Laces out. Heck, it was even a key plot concept in the movie Ace Ventura.
It was all that Dan Marino's fault. Everyone knows that. If he had held the ball laces out like you're supposed to, Ray would never have missed that kick. Dan Marino should die of gonorrhea and rot in hell. Would you like a cookie, son?
Why laces out? Former punter Pat McAfee has a great explanation which I'll link in the description, but here's the gist. As a kicker, you want to be kicking the backside of the football because it's the hardest and will jump off your foot the cleanest. Inevitably, your foot will somewhat be absorbed by the football, but this is minimized on the backside. However, if you kick the laces when you're expecting the backside, your foot will absorb a bit more than you're expecting and stick on a bit longer. This leads to pulling the ball. As a righty, that means missing left. As a lefty, that means missing right. But in this case, we can see the laces were aligned correctly and Justin Tucker didn't pull the ball. Therefore, we can rule out a mishold. The possibility for wind is pretty straightforward. If the wind is swirling, it adds an extra variable into the calculation for initial trajectory, and it would certainly help explain one crucial element to this Tucker kick. It started on target. Looking at the first few moments after the football leaves his foot, it seems on line. If anything, the ball starts off a bit to his left, but that's by design. Like in baseball, the Magnus force is constantly moving the ball. The backspin helps it fight gravity, traveling further, and the bit of tilt makes it slightly fade. Justin Tucker knows this, and his initial trajectory accounts for it. The Magnus effect was under control, and perhaps it was a gust of wind that made the ball take off, surprising Tucker. It's a decent theory, but there's something missing. See the two markers at the top of the uprights? These indicate wind speed and direction. For the ball to take off like it did, these would have to be whipping about, and Justin Tucker would have adjusted for it. Wind might explain the football's movement, but not the environment surrounding it. If you're deep down the rabbit hole of baseball analytics, you've probably heard a lot about seam-shifted wake as of late. Caused by the persistent imbalances of seam patterns, this is the force responsible for the late movement of cutters and sinkers across the league. In baseball, producing these forces is a competitive advantage, hence why it's so prevalent at the professional rank. To get this effect in football, the laces need to be perpendicular to the velocity vector. So if this ball is spinning end over end towards the camera, the laces need to be here or here to get the effect. If they're in the correct position, the ball will move away from the laces. Looking at Justin Tucker's extra point, we can actually see the seam pattern mid-flight. The laces stay on the left side of the ball, sending it wide right. Yeah, seriously, a seam-shifted wake kick. Unfortunately, football does not have a competitive advantage for achieving the effect. See, the late movement doesn't really do anything in football. Field goals are about precision, not deception, so as a kicker, the only person you have to surprise is yourself. Does this explain most field goal misses in the NFL? Absolutely not. A vast majority are due to initial trajectory errors. On pretty much every kick, the ball stays roughly true because the laces are alternating sides. You may notice this on long field goals with a distinctive wobble. The seam-shifted wake effects are still there, but they're rapidly alternating, canceling each other out. Tucker's missed extra point was just a phenomenal anomaly. Again, as a novice, I can't pretend to tell you what about that kick made the lace stay so perfectly on one side of the ball, but I can confidently say that's why Justin Tucker missed that extra point. Bringing it back to baseball, this is why seam-shifted wake represents such an advantage. It makes the ball act abnormally. Hitters, just like Justin Tucker, have gone through hundreds of thousands of repetitions to develop an eye for how the ball moves and act accordingly. But when seam-shifted wake takes effect, it can baffle even the keenest of eyes.